Half-Life has a secret. Well, kind of, not really. If you're a level designer, you might have wondered what the hell is going on with some of these entities. There's, for example, info intermission. Info intermission is the same entity that was used in Quake that basically marks where the intermission camera is. AKA when a time limit has been hit or the frag limit, aka the score limit, has been hit, you will teleport to the camera, it'll have a nice sway action, and it's going to show you some interesting locations of the map. However, Valve seemed to have planned on implementing or keeping it the Quake way, but eventually they got rid of them. So let's look at them, because some of them are quite weird. Not all of them, just some of them. Here's Boot Camp, which everyone likes because it's so huge and you can't find each other. And yeah, that player teleporting is me. I have to currently teleport all the players to just tell them, oh, they're in this PVS, so network all these entities that are there. It's uninteresting technological information. But yeah, you can see some pretty interesting angles here. So I would hope that maybe one day we can make it so that you can still see the action that would have gone on, like all the players standing in their respective positions and stuff, and you get a good grasp of just how full the server was and what was going on. Let's move to Lambda Bunker. Lambda Bunker has them too. Basically every map has them. That's in the Deathmatch lineup, except for Crossfire, because there was a later edition and they, I guess, decided to scrap the idea of this entity being used for anything. But yeah, you can see there's some interesting angles going on here. This one not so interesting, but let's just not focus on that. And yes, even Bounce. Bounce has them too. I always like this area. Oh, there you go. Got some interesting angles here of all the action. Really showing you how big those maps are. I mean, for like Quake 1 type stuff, it's pretty big. The next map will be Data Core, which was, if I remember correctly, supposed to be a single player map at one point. Or was a single player map at one point, but was turned into a multiplayer map. Just like Subtransit was like a co-op map or something, but we'll get to that in a second. Again, you can see some interesting angles here. This maybe not so much. Not sure how useful this will be. Doesn't show a lot of action. Would have actually thought some of the more populated areas might see it. This one makes sense. But yeah, I'm not here to criticize an incomplete feature. Gasworks has actually some really nice cameras, because you've got a great overview over the level. There you go. That's a really great overview. Oh, gibbed. Yeah, really good overview. Giving you some nice, interesting angles to work with. Again, this is what you would have seen when the match ended. The time limit has been hit, the score limit had been hit, all that stuff. Okay, then it's Rapid Core, which was a custom map that was later patched into the final game. Well, final game sounds wrong. It was patched into the game. There. Not sure what patch it was, but that was after the release of Further Data, which is that add-on CD, which contained those funky player models. Again, some really cool angles. I hadn't seen those before. How about you? So, the next map on the lineup is Snug Pit. Snug Pit is a really interesting map, I felt, because it uses a bunch of, not all of them, but it uses a bunch of tricks in the Half-Life Entity book, like monster makers and damage types. I think the angles here are pretty solid. I think this is the sort of stuff I would have done too if I was the level designer behind Snark Pit. Just populated areas, stuff where there could be a lot going on. Then we have Stockyard, one of the oldest maps. I think that's the oldest deathmatch map that made it into the game. We've seen screenshots of this map dating back to 97-ish, like really early. I think it was also in the leaked Half-Life Alpha build. But yeah, I haven't really looked into that stuff so much. Again, really interesting map. And now we go to Subtransit, which was supposed to be a co-op map or something. Not sure how that would have worked out. Not sure what you can do here co-op, but again, they put some effort into the angles here. Some really good angles. For some important areas, I might add. Except this one. I mean, I'm not sure what's important about that, but yeah, some really neat angles. And the last map is Undertow. Undertow is a great map. I mean, who doesn't like that feeling of accomplishment when you lock someone into that water room and they just drown? That's always been a really cool part about the map. That's the thing that Half-Life had over other games at the time, is the interactivity in the multiplayer maps. Which is, I guess, why people like... Okay. These are the info intermission entities that exist in Half-Life. They put them into Opposing Force as well, but there's a bit of a sad story about them. Let me show you. In Opposing Force, when you go to, like, Gasworks, and you check out the... Let me set the time limit. There you go. You'll see that the cameras are messed up, unfortunately. They just don't display right. The angles are completely wrong. And I suspect this is something that happened when Valve gave them the source files for the map to make adjustments to, and somebody made a mistake, perhaps removed some entities, recreated them, pointed them to... I don't know. Feel free to data mine the BSP files, look at the entity lumps, and share your findings. Just here to report to you that OP4's maps are kind of bugged. Maybe... Maybe they did something else. Maybe they invert the camera pitch. That would be interesting to find out. Let me actually do this real quick. Maybe they do. 1 second. I can do this. Compile. Because if that's the case, that would mean that Gearbox messed with the entity. That would be interesting. Let's try it. Did they mess with the entity angle pitch? Well, we're getting closer. Yes, it seems that the pitch was inverted for Opposing Force. Interesting. Alright, so that's a finding. So yeah, info intermissions. The maps were manually had them flipped for Opposing Force entity. Anyway, I just wanted to make a video on the Half-Life Deathmatch ones. I'm gonna work on supporting the Opposing Force ones properly in my project Nuclide. You know where to find me. Thanks for watching, and like and do whatever you want. See ya.